Let's face it, folks. Sending online flowers sucks. We've all been burned. $19.99 somehow becomes $74.50. And what shows up isn't what you ordered. It's mostly dead, and then you get spammed nonstop. This is why the geniuses at thebooks.com launched a whole new way to send flowers. That's THEBOUQS.com. Books because they took bouquets and simplified them. Thebooks.com sends flowers straight from sustainable farms located on an active volcano in South America. Seriously. Whoa, that's like real volcano flowers. And they charge a flat rate of just $40 with free delivery. So your loved ones get beautiful flowers and you save cash. For Mother's Day, thebooks.com is offering 20% off with promo code ASK. So go to thebooks.com, that's THEBOUQS.com. Click on the shop button at the top of the page and send that special someone a book. Don't forget, order today with promo code ASK to get 20% off flowers with a freaking volcano.
The following program is a podcast1.com production.
Podcast1.com presents the Ask Women Podcast. A place where three comics and a professional wing girl get together to dissect the female mind.
You don't know how I feel.
And explain it to men in terms they can actually understand. Boobs. Now, here's the lovely ladies of Ask Women.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Ask Women Podcast, where you get real advice straight from the source. I'm Kristen Carney, comedian, host. Check me out on YouTube at youtube.com/seeyounexttuescomedy. I'm here with Marni Kinrys, best-selling author and relationship expert. Check out her book, Get Inside Her. And
actually, I want to add one more thing.
Okay,
we never really say it. Owner of the Wing Girl Method.
Owner of the Wing Girl Method.
Yeah, because that's the main thing that I do.
That is the main thing
I wrote a book. It's called Get Inside Her. It's awesome. But I own the Wing Girl Method, and I have for 10 years. And it's awesome, and everybody should check it out.
Yes.
And your See You Next... Oh, damn, I screw it up every single time.
No, it's okay.
And YouTube.
Just follow
your
us.
YouTube channel.
Follow me on Twitter. Just do that and you'll find all
exactly.
Yeah. But we also have Johnny Dzubak.
You got it.
Yeah. There's a D in the front, so I don't want to pronounce the D. It's silent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for being here today. We
Thanks for having me.
we have
Johnny's
the
pretty
other
cool.
half of the Art of Charm, or the other. You're the third. You're one of the third. Okay, cool. And people are familiar with Jordan, who's been on the show several times talking about the Art of Charm. He's really funny, and so you have a lot to live up to.
Yes, exactly. Lots of pressure for you. But you're the cool end of the spectrum. Like Jordan is funny. And you're cool.
And you're the rock and roller.
Well, thank you. Well, that I am.
Well, I want to talk to you a little bit more about you and your dating history. Because, because Art of Charm, you are a coach there. You've taught like thousands of men how to be better men, how to charm the pants off of women. But ultimately, you're teaching men how to be the best men they can possibly be. So how do you know how to be the best man you can possibly be?
That's a good one.
And were you always the best man?
Well, you know what? I think being the best man, being the best person, man or woman, I mean, I think you got to love life and you got to be happy. And
yeah, we were actually just speaking before we came on here really quick, and I told him that he said everything today in this era is awesome, and I said I disagree. Everything today is horrible.
It's what you tell yourself. It's the narrative that you build about the world around you. Now, I could build one around me that is going to allow me to be depressed and hateful and angry and bitter at the world, or I can build one that allows me to go out and create and feel good about expressing myself.
Yeah, I always feel like when I build it, though, it's like I'm building a fake reality.
It's all.
Is it okay to live in a fake reality?
Delusion is amazing.
It is, isn't it?
The other part of that
it's like how I got out of bed this morning.
Listen, what does it take for you to put yourself on stage and be a comedian?
Well,
it's not alcohol. You don't drink.
No, I don't, and I really want to start. Like, I would be so much more fun if I drank.
The first time that you put yourself on that stage, you told you something that would allowed you to feel good about...
I did. Oh, my God, you're bringing me back to a very happy moment.
But you do that every time that you get on stage. You have to, or else you wouldn't continue doing it.
Listen, it's about feeling good about putting yourself in the arena, because if you want to do something that you love that you've never done before, it's a very scary thing. I've done this my whole life while I'm playing on stage. So you have to tell yourself. Now, even if you never done it before and you don't have that confidence, you have to pull that from somewhere. Maybe it's arrogance, maybe it's narcissism, maybe it's tenacity, but stubbornness. But whatever it is, if you love it so much, you'll do anything to learn that craft.
Right.
And you'll tell yourself whatever you need to put yourself on that stage to take an ass beating. And that ass beating, it can be just that, the ass beating, or it can be this opportunity for you to learn something about the craft that you love. And you'll tell yourself anything that you want anything you need to get yourself in that position.
Yeah.
So, as I said,
right, like I've told myself I'm funny, and it's like, so you will tell yourself anything.
Of course, because it's a craft that you love. Now, who does it really matter? The people who are watching you, or the love of what you're doing? And of course, everyone sucks at the beginning, and that's part of the fun of getting better and getting these small victories.
No, but it's true. I've seen a lot of comedians who did not start off so great, but they kept going and going and going, similar to what you're doing. You didn't just go up there and say, I bombed, like I suck, I'm never going back up on stage again. You continue to put yourself out there. So secretly, you are a confident person.
Secretly, you just need something to do during the day.
I love how she always spins it to a negative. Like, basically, what it means is...
I've heard it, just her and I meeting out in the hallway, and we already got into it of, what are you telling yourself about the world?
I love that you're jumping into therapist mode with her.
That's my job.
I know it's your job, but to know in 2 minutes that she needed that.
But she doesn't need anything. All I am pointing out...
slap in the face.
All I am pointing out is that, you build this narrative, and it can be whatever you'd like it to be.
It is, yeah.
So did you always have this narrative for yourself?
No, fuck no. So I'll give you how it came to me to figure this out for myself. So I grew up in Pittsburgh, and I tell this story with the guys all the time. When you live in a blue-collar town, especially one that carries that blue-collar identity in its sports teams and all of that sort of stuff, I grew up 30 minutes outside, and that blue-collar mentality of you have to go into the battle. Every day is going to be a war of attrition. If you're tougher than the day, you might eke out an existence, and if you try really hard, you might be happy. So you have to understand that's the kind of mentality that, as growing up, that I was put on me of growing up in a blue-collar, working-class family. I moved to North Carolina. And my love was music, and of course I told myself whatever I could to get myself on that stage, as nervous as I was, as flipped out as I was.
And how old were you when you started doing this?
Well, I mean, I was playing earlier in high school and stuff, but this counted as starting my real career.
Right.
Because I'm now out of town. And, that belief that every day was a struggle, that every day was a fight, and you need to be tougher to get through it, and you're going to be met with walls every day, and if you hit hard enough, they will come crashing down. Well, being on the road, playing music, living that lifestyle, getting to certain points in life and then realizing that why am I hitting this so-called glass ceiling, and realizing that it wasn't because I wasn't tough enough to get through. It was at that point I didn't have the skill set to move further. Now, how did I figure that out? By continually bumping my head off the glass ceiling, putting myself in, feeling depressed, panic attacks, like what is going on?
Right.
When you start to think, well, maybe there's something wrong with me, so I got to start seeing somebody, therapist or whatnot, and they went to prescribe you whatever meds for you to feel good about being mediocre in life.
Right.
And that didn't jive very well with me. I wanted certain things.
Right.
And so talking to a lot of people who had their act together, who were very successful, who were very happy, and who took the time to mentor me, I realized, at first I thought they're just lucky they have everything handed to them in life. And that's the cop out,
right?
And then I started taking responsibility for my own actions, and it's like, well, they don't go out into the world swinging, trying to be tougher. Every day is a war. They go on the world as a place that hands them everything that they want in life. So, what would happen if I changed my belief system and my narrative of the world and start treating it?
I actually do think, sorry to interrupt you, but this is a good chapter that we're going to use for today's chapter in the Man's Playbook.
Sure. All right. Where was I?
Sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to have that in there because now we're going to talk about it.
All right, well, great.
Because now we're going to talk about it after. No, that's a huge thing.
It's one of my favorite
subjects. Please continue.
So I decided, well, perhaps I'll treat the world as a place that gives me something that will treat the world the way, that's a place that gives me what I want in life.
Look at it that way.
Yes. So, but that was really difficult because this means I have to be positive. put on a smile, give people attention, appreciation, and acceptance.
So why was that difficult?
Because I grew up in a place where the world was there to take advantage of you.
Right.
So to change your whole perspective on this and go out feeling naked and vulnerable without your defenses was a very scary task.
Do you ever drop off of this thought process and fall backwards and then pick yourself up again? Or
not anymore. I mean, it's been a very long road, but at first,
he's like 75, so it's
yes,
long.
True.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm 40, so. But at first, yes, it was difficult, and there would be times where your emotions will get the best of you, and you revert back. So, but
I'm going to interrupt one again. But so, what are the steps to reframing? Because it's challenging to go from one way of thinking to another way. If you've grown up your entire life thinking one way, how do you adjust that mindset?
Well, the first part of it is understand why you operate in the manner that you do. So you have to think back to your socioeconomic background, ethnicity, all these things, and take responsibility rather than pointing the blame at those things. Take responsibility for those and go, okay, that's cool. I got it. I understand why I think this way. That's the first one. If you understand that, then you can start changing those things.
Right.
Then once again, even books like Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends, and all that, the rules are laid out.
Right.
I should write one called How to Lose Friends because my last name's Carney, and that would be awesome.
Like the opposite.
Right.
Yeah.
Done.
Oh, trust me, I can write chapters on that myself.
Yeah.
No, but I talk about that all the time, about first noticing. Like the first step to change is actually taking notice of what's going on around you, that you're doing an action or that you think a certain way.
Which is important, but what's the next step? Because someone like me, constantly aware and taking notice of those things, but there's not that next step in line for someone like me. How would you suggest that someone who's really cynical and has a specific view of the world...
Do you know how long... Listen, that cynicalness is going to, depending on how long you're going to be in this way, you're either going to decide that you want more and you're going to want more out of life, or you're going to decide that what you've been getting all along is just fine. And so that's going to depend on you whether or not that's what you want.
So say it's not fine. What's the step after that? What do you do?
What is it that is going to lead to a world giving you what you want? First of all, you have to treat the world as a place that's going to give you what you want.
Right. So, I'm going to give you an exercise for Kristen and for everybody who is listening right now, because this definitely pertains to women, but it pertains to all areas of your life. And these are things that I did for myself.
Listen, anyone who wants to get good at anything in life has to have the right tools.
Yeah, but you have to be willing to do some work and know that it's not going to change overnight. So here's something that people can do right now if they do want to adjust and alter their mindset. So the first thing to do is whatever you're trying to adjust or change. So for example, for Kristen, if she starts thinking, my life sucks, and every day, a sentence comes out of her mouth where it says, oh, my life sucks, or something negative, you start calling attention to when you're doing it. So you take a pause, you notice it, and then you can actually replace that sentence by saying something more positive. So you can say, hold on one second. You can literally say that out loud.
Sure.
And then you can say, let me readjust and reframe what I just said. Here's what I actually meant. And you can reframe the sentence so that it has a more
positive mean it sucked.
spin.
I mean it really sucked.
It really sucked, exactly. But that's
my reframing.
That's the whole process of altering the way that you think. So you can look at another person when you're on a date with them and you can say, oh, you know what? My ex-wife was a horrible bitch and she just beat me down. And then say, you know what? I take that back. I'm sorry for saying that. I apologize to myself. Here's what I really wanted to say. Me and my wife had troubles, as everybody does who are in a relationship or in marriage.
It's part of
but you know what? I realized that we didn't communicate well during our relationship, and my next relationship is going to be so much better. And that takes practice, being able to first notice, then pause, then announce that you're not happy with what you've said, and then alter it.
Yeah, well, taking ownership and responsibility.
Yeah.
Taking responsibility for everything in your life is a ground key in changing it. When you point the finger at things, my ex-wife, my girlfriend, my weight, or whatever it might be, you've just given up all your power to change the perspective of the narrative.
Yeah.
And once you've given up your power, there's nothing you can do over it.
Exactly.
Now, you can spin things a million ways to find out where is it that you have that responsibility, so you are able to change it. When you take responsibility, you get three choices: change it, leave it, accept it. That's up to you. If you point the finger, those choices are gone, your power over that situation's gone.
Absolutely.
Now,
I think people are sometimes afraid to point the finger elsewhere because then they're already feeling bad about themselves. So when they
they easily point the finger.
Absolutely.
Oh, no, I'm saying they do because they already feel bad about themselves. So the last thing they want is an additional finger pointing at themselves when they already feel bad. So it's a scary thing for a lot of people to do that.
It's extremely scary.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that you win over that is power over the situation. I'm the first one to be in a room to let you know that I fucked something up very badly. Why? Because I don't want to do it again, and I want to make sure that I figure it out for the next time. And I'm fine with that. Embracing imperfection is the best thing that you can do, and just say, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I will take this time to learn what's going on.
Would you say that's one of the main qualities and attributes that you're teaching to the men that you work with at the Art of Charm?
That what?
To take ownership.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's the first step, actually. I think once you stop putting things onto other people, like, I'm not getting girls because of this, or because of that, or because of that, and you start saying, you know what, maybe there are things that I'm doing. Maybe I'm not being as proactive. Maybe I'm not as driven. Maybe I'm not being a great communicator, but I'm going to work on those things.
Well, the great thing about the clients that come in, they've already at that point.
Right.
So they're ready to hear it.
Yeah, they're open to change.
They're completely open to change, and they're willing to take it on the chin for not having it together for that long. And that's great.
If there's like a final wrap up, because we're going to get to the second half of our show, because our cute little guest, Single Girlie, just walked in, so we want to get to her. But what is the final wrap up for this chapter in the Man's Playbook that we've just discussed today? What is a great piece of advice that guys can take away from this conversation that we've just had?
I think the last piece that I was just mentioning of it's okay not to know, and it's okay to be imperfect. You're going to waste a lot of energy trying to convince people that you are. So embrace the imperfection, and then allow yourself not to know to look for opportunities to learn and grow, which is going to make you look a very attractive person.
Yeah.
I agree. I do want to add one thing. Before we walked into the studio, Kristen was telling us a story. And she did say, and I'm not going to say the story, we'll save it for another time, but she did say something. It was like a story about your boyfriend, and you said, he made me feel. And that was actually one of the first things that I learned in my therapy. He doesn't make you feel anything. You feel it. He's not responsible for your...
Is.
No, he's not. You are responsible for your feelings. And anytime that I catch myself saying, like, he made... And I'm like, oh, no. I made myself feel. And I own that. Mm-hmm. And it's my feelings, and I have to work through that situation.
Sure.
So I think that's one good thing that people can take away from this conversation is the first step is even just saying statements like, he made me do this or she made me do that, really taking ownership and saying, I made myself do this, and here's how I'm going to alter it.
And it's the other way around of you can't make anyone do anything. You can only allow them to feel really good in following your lead. And the same goes for yourself. No one can make you feel anything. You only allow yourself to feel a certain way. And, of course, working through that will allow you to find out why you are feeling this way. And
super not into this dose of reality right now.
I know, seriously, this is depressing for Kristen.
Let's get Single Girlie in here.
I know.
So we can
we're going to have you on for the second half of the show.
Okay,
you're going to come back for a second show as well, and I want to hear about you and girls, because that's the information that I want next.
Fantastic.
But coming up next after the break, we have Single Girlie, whose first name we do not know, because on her blog
Single?
it does not.
Her last name's Girlie.
Right, exactly. That's what I think it is.
Her middle name's Pop.
She dates in Los Angeles, and she is going to tell us all about dating in Los Angeles, being single, being a girlie, having fun.
And the reason we're calling her Single Girlie is because that's the name of her blog, singlegirlie.com.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't know her name. She's anonymous on it, and there's only a cartoon character. The cartoon character's hot. She's very cute in real life. And we will be back with her in a minute.
Rad.
Hey guys, buying a car is a not so fun experience for most people, and it doesn't have to be. At TrueCar.com, they'll help you get rid of the fear that you may overpay. You know when you'll get a fair price because they show you what others paid for the car you're looking for. TrueCar.com analyzes what people are paying for their cars in their market and shares it with consumers so that they never have to overpay. Over 40,000 cars were sold by TrueCar certified dealers just last month. Users see an average savings of $3,046 off MSRP. TrueCar TrueCar certified dealers go through a certification process, and you work directly with a TrueCar representative that will honor your savings. TrueCar certified dealers believe that truth and transparency are essentials to a better buying experience. First, go to TrueCar.com and find out what others pay for the same vehicle in your market and around the country. Second, register at TrueCar.com to see upfront pricing information and lock in your savings certificate. And the third step is simple. Just print out your certificate and take it to the TrueCar certified dealer for a better hassle-free buying experience. TrueCar has the most comprehensive new car pricing information available and a certified network of dealers that offers a hassle-free car buying experience and negotiation-free guaranteed savings. Support the Ask Women podcast and shop at TrueCar.com.
Hello, podcast fans. Adam Carolla here. I'm leading the fight against patent trolls who are threatening this medium. It's not about me. It's about the podcast you're listening to right now. If I go down, this show could be next. So visit fundanything.com/patent troll for more information on how you can keep podcasting alive. Thank you and mahalo.
You're listening to the Ask Women podcast, a Podcast One presentation.
Hey guys, welcome back. We're here with Single Girlie from singlegirlyblogging.com.
Single Girl Blogging.
Singlegirlblogging.com.
God, so confusing. All these things.
Right.
Single Girl Blogging.
Singlegirlblogging.com is my blog.
Okay,
And then my Twitter handle is Single Girlie, so.
That's a pretty good domain name, I would think. Single Girl Blog?
Yeah, Single Girl Blogging. Yeah, it actually, it works, you know, as far as SEO and whatnot, search engines and.
I would think that would be like a highly sought after domain name.
Pretty
now.
much.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's
You
not
kinda own
like
it.
Single Girl
worked
LA.
out.
You have Single Girl Blogging.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So how long have you been
Basically,
doing this
what she's
for?
saying is you should make money off of what you're doing right
yes,
now.
exactly.
I should be. I'm not.
Yeah, stop talking to people about stuff. Start selling shit. That's how you actually make money. But tell me about like how this blog started and why you're putting this information out there.
Oh my gosh. Well, I really wanted it just as a vehicle for my writing. I think, you know, I work at a job where I do write, but it's not creative. It's really boring corporate stuff, really. So I wanted to be able to just put stuff out there. And one of my very good friends, my gay boyfriend, I call him, you know, he said he would listen to my dating stories and he would just be like, you should write a blog. You should really just put this stuff out there.
This is why every woman needs a gay male friend, by the way.
It is just
They're
the best thing. They're the godsend.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay,
So
you
they have
know.
a million
I'm
blogs.
So I'm hiring, just so you know.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, he's not gay.
Oh.
So anyway, keep
He
going.
just wears tight pants, so don't,
Oh, okay. Well, you know, that's all right. It's all right.
What does tight pants have to do with it?
I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. I'm a horrible person for saying that. Continue, please.
Okay.
Single Girlie.
So, yeah, I just started the blog. I actually started on Twitter first because I didn't know if I'd have the time to really commit to blogging. And so I thought, okay, I'll try microblogging and see how that works, 140 characters at a time. And I got a following, and so I decided to start the blog. And it's been
Really?
about
Because
4
now
years
you
now.
have a lot of blog articles, so obviously you are putting more time into this.
It's been about 4 years.
a lot.
I blogged a lot more in the beginning, I have to say, and it's sort of tapered off a little just because life gets in the way and whatnot.
Right.
But yeah, I'm still doing it.
So tell us about being single and dating right now. Because Kristen has a boyfriend, I have a husband. Johnny is a man, but we want to hear about dating from
You guys
a
are
female
not
point
in
of
the
view.
trenches, okay.
No,
Different type of trenches.
yes,
but-
exactly.
I've been there
A different
too.
battle.
I have been there too. So, yeah, I was married for 10 years, and I've been single for a few years now, just dating. I'm doing the online thing mostly because I don't really go to bars and clubs and things like that. That's just not really my thing. Online dating, though, I have to say I hate it. It's just kind of a necessary evil.
Really? What
Yeah.
sites are you using? Or have you used?
I've used OkCupid. I've used Plenty of Fish. I've used Chemistry.com.
I feel like OkCupid sets the bar so low because it's like, okay. Like, how about Great Cupid?
Right,
You know,
right.
Like, okay, Cupid. It's like
Right.
mediocre
Like, I'll take you. It's
love.com.
fine.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
it's a free
okay,
site, so.
Cupid.
Right.
Fine.
Fine, I give up.
I actually kind of like that one. It's a free one, and I know there are people who debate, the free site's better than the paid sites, but I've done them both, and I feel like it's pretty much all the same.
Have you messed with Tinder yet? which is the new hot dating app?
I finally signed up for Tinder like a couple weeks ago just to kind of see what all the hype was about. It didn't really seem like it was for me because it just seemed very superficial. You swipe right or left or whatever, and it seemed like more of a hookup thing. I thought it was more like a Grinder for straight people.
Yeah.
I don't know if people know
it is and it isn't, I guess. So I think some people are using it for that form. It's really like what before you came in, Johnny was saying, like the world is what you make it. So I guess Tinder is also what you make it.
Of course. And then once again, you were talking about how it's the app of superficial people when it can just be the app for lazy people who don't like to use all the sites with all the info and all this stuff.
Who are typically superficial.
Or it could be an awesome app of like finding who's cool right around you within 5 miles.
Yeah, it's totally fun. I enjoyed it, but I wanted to know if you had any experiences with it and what you had thought about it, seeing how you had done a lot of the online dating.
And you're cute, so you should get a lot of responses.
Aw, thanks. I've been on it. I have not gotten a single message. I've gotten a few matches. Truth be told, I've swiped right like maybe 7 times. So
that's the match.
That's the
swiping
match.
Right is match.
Yeah,
okay,
swiping right is match. Swiping left is no match.
Of course,
so I've swiped left like
are weird.
Like my hand's getting a cramp from swiping left, kind of thing.
Well, let me for the guys that are listening. Let me ask you this. So let's just say you do see a picture and you're like, okay, this guy's kind of cute. How much stock do you put into the friends in common and the interests in common and what they tell them?
There's like a line you can put too. Like how much do you look at that stuff?
I definitely look at it. Again, my experience with Tinder is not very extensive. So, you look at the pictures first. Let's just be honest. That's really what it's for, you know. Right. But yeah, I will definitely go in and read if they've written anything. I'll see if we have any interest in common.
And same with online dating, right?
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
So actually, maybe walk us through how do you use online dating? Like looking at profiles, like break that down for us.
Okay. Well, I look at the pictures. I'm not going to lie. And I know a lot of people think women don't care about looks, and in my case, it's not true. It doesn't mean you have to look like John Hamm by any case, but I need to feel an attraction. I need to, something has to draw me in there, and I think men understand that too. Yes. Right. I think men know that they look at the pictures a lot as well. But it doesn't stop there by any means. I have to look at the profile. If we have anything in common, if they seem smart, if they seem funny, if they just seem like someone that I'd like to get to know.
So how do you notice those things? Like how do they seem funny? Like what means funny to you?
I think it's honestly very individual because I think everybody thinks different things are funny. Like where I work, I have people who laugh at what I think is just the most ridiculous, stupid, silly stuff. I have kind of a weird, quirky
typical
sense of humor.
People.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
like kill yourselves.
Yeah. So you're a comedian, so different people have different humor, but I have kind of a quirky, offbeat sense of humor. If you've read my blog, you've probably noticed that.
Yes. Which, by the way, I don't want to interrupt you, but I thought what you put was so funny. It was for Emma Watson with her Oscar dress, and you're like, she's been shot in the stomach 15 times, and she's so like going to the Oscars, which is hilarious because there were red dots on her stomach.
They were.
And it took me kind of that second, and then I realized, and I was like, oh, that was really funny because I didn't like those dots. So anyway.
Yeah, I was like, why are those there? Yeah.
I applaud you.
So thank you. Yeah.
So you guys have the same sense of humor.
Awesome.
Yes. Murder is fun.
But yeah, it's not like they have to be bowling me over with humor or anything like that. But it helps. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of helps if they sometimes it's just a one line that it's like, oh, I get that. That's funny. That's cool. Yeah. Or I identify with that.
What have guys done in the online dating that has not worked? That essentially has made you not reply?
I don't think we have enough time.
Really?
Yeah. No, there's a lot of things that people do. And again, every woman's different. Every woman's looking for something different. So what I'm looking for might not be what other people are looking for. Some women might respond to this, but some people, guys, a lot of times they'll put pictures of themselves that are like really, really, really far away, and I'm like, I cannot see what you look like, or
they're like, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I know. It's like, why are you doing that? Or they'll obscure their face somehow with sunglasses in every picture, or sometimes they just put up weird pictures where they look like serial killers, and it's like, what are you doing here?
Why did you choose that?
Yeah, it's like grainy, and they're not smiling, and they look really
low
pissed,
res.
and what's up? Yeah.
Anyone low res, guys, just if you do put your photos on low res, it says something about you in general. Like you're not in the same era. You wake up in 1989.
Right.
I don't know. It's like a weird thing. So just
It's like you're taking a picture of an old picture as well.
Yeah, it's strange.
It's like you don't know how to use technology.
Right.
Yeah.
They've scanned it somehow, and it's a really bad scanner. I don't know. But, it's like if that's your best picture, then that's, just have a friend take a picture. The selfie, even actually, selfies are kind of controversial online as well. People don't like sometimes the bathroom selfies, especially.
I hate those.
But sometimes we talk to women that say, like, I think when we had sex with Emily on, she said if a guy just says, "Hey, beautiful, how are you?" Yeah.
When we had sex with Emily.
Yeah, we always have sex with Emily. Yeah, but when someone just says, "Hey, beautiful," she just instantly keeps going because it's not original or unique. Has anyone had any specific lines that they've gotten you with at all that you can kind of share? Or?
No, I will not say that there's a specific line that gets me. I think it's more if somebody notices something in my profile and says
and talks about it.
Yeah, but.
It says you're being understood and you're being heard.
And that you've actually read my profile. You didn't just look at the pics. You're not just, copying and pasting something, which does happen.
Well, listen, there in our industry, Marni and I know plenty of books that is a cut and paste recipe for online dating, and we try to get the guys to please be personal with each person. They can tell it's a nondescript.
It's like when you apply to jobs on Craigslist, unfortunately I've posted things on Craigslist, so I know when someone's not personalizing them, and it's just like, hello, hiring manager. It's like, right. No, I'm a human being.
You got to make it personal for everything in life, really, jobs, dating, whatever. So, but that does happen. I mean, I'll get people who cut and paste like a novel, it seems. I mean, like paragraphs of stuff, and it's like they're just like giving me their bio, and that's not really what
you
I'm
have to understand for most of the men on there, their mindset is if I send out 20.
It's a numbers game. People tell them all the time. And, to some extent.
To some people it is, but then the thing is, it's like earlier today I read something, and what was in it was that it takes the same time or more to do something crappy than it is to do it right. And so when you're doing this numbers game thing, you're taking just as much time, but you're doing it crappy, so you're going to get crappy responses. And you have 20 plus hours in it, and you've gotten nowhere.
And it's quantity over quality.
Right. And the thing with a lot of the younger guys who are starting that, especially on online dating, it's the more time they put in on getting personal, they're scared about investing too much up front. Yeah. And so then all that work goes to shit, and then they're upset about it, and then they're going to pout about it. And but they have to understand.
They don't have to
there needs to be exactly. You don't have to invest
just a couple of lines. Just like 3 sentences. Yeah. 3 sentences.
Absolutely.
But there are some guys who just write one line. Hey. I've had that before.
Allow her to feel it.
God, I have a few clients right now. This one guy wrote to me and said, I saw this pretty girl on Facebook. So I wrote to her. The first message was, hi. My second message was, what's up? And he's like, and she didn't respond. Should I follow up with something? I'm like, no. First of all, never follow up because you're already ruined. You're the creepy guy who says hi and then what's up. But then he wrote really afterwards creepy. That he did follow up because he had bought somebody's program, and then he wrote something like, "Hey, beautiful, you look like you travel all around the world. What's up with that?" And he wrote this whole long thing, and I was like, "Oh my God, you're so inconsistent with what you're writing. It just would freak me out. Like that would creep me out completely." So yeah, a lot of guys do
sad. I mean, just like he's really trying to do the right thing, but he just doesn't know what to do. And
exactly. So if there was a recipe, let's just say, not for them to follow every single time, but for them to have in mind when they are writing a profile,
a little structure,
or an initial email. What would that initial email look like, and what would it include?
Right.
For you to respond.
Well, I mean, what would you say if you were talking to somebody in person? Would you walk up to them and say, "Hey, beautiful, what's shaking?" No.
Some guys would.
Yeah.
Because it works 1 out of 10 times. Why not keep doing it? But so what would you respond to?
I would respond to somebody who, I don't mind compliments, that's fine. But, something in my profile that we have in common, why do you think we'd be a good match? Oh, you like, skiing. Actually, I hate skiing, but I'm just using that as an example. I love to do this, and I went over to, some ski resort or whatever,
Big Bear.
Right. I went there last year. What do you like to do? Where do you like to go? Something like that. So just find some.
It'd be funny. Like, what's your worst ski accident ever?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It creates, like we've said before, especially when we first started doing this podcast, is like changing the Marni would always say, changing the primal brain.
Oh, hitting your primal brain.
Right.
Because you don't want to do things that, everybody's saying, like, hey, how are you doing? My name is Brad. You want to start a conversation with something that attacks a primal brain that's different than what else is out there. So it doesn't have to be like something, completely crazy, but you can start a conversation by forgetting about those first 30 seconds of formalities and breaking into an observation like, oh my God, that muffin looks so yummy. And most people don't say things like that right off of the bat. Mm-hmm. So it catches your brain because it's different and gets you to pay attention. It doesn't make you attracted, doesn't get you to want to like have sex with that person right away, but it gets your attention going towards that other human being. And if you give them, you have 5 more seconds of time with them.
Don't use a ski accident thing if the person's like paralyzed or something weird.
If you see, like,
that might
neck
not be a great
braces,
idea.
then I might avoid.
Turn off on that.
Well, Johnny, what are things that you would want to know from Single Girlie as are you single? We didn't even talk about that. Okay, as a single guy, like what would you want to know about her and dating?
I mean, with profile-wise, I don't even like. The only online dating that I do is Tinder because it's so easy and so stupid.
Yeah.
It's my favorite. I'm standing in line at the bank, so I'm going to go swipe a bunch of people.
Have you had dates from Tinder?
Oh, tons. It's
tons, really?
Yeah. But I don't waste my time just because a girl is a good-looking girl on Tinder. If she doesn't have friends or any interests in common with me, I swipe left because what are we going to talk about? And the likelihood is she clicked on me. It is far and few between. And the other part of that is I only have so much time to be hanging out with certain people.
Yeah, dating is time-consuming. It is.
It's very time-consuming, and everyone has emotional needs and things that need to be met. And to have my feed clogged up with a bunch of people that I connected with but don't have anything in common with, that's just upsetting other people. I don't even have time for everything that I want to put time with my life at the moment. I have to pick and choose what gets my time. And so
what do you look for?
As I said, music is a big part of my life. So I'd like to make sure that the people that my interest are lined up with music and things like that. That's going to give us hours and hours of just talking.
Right.
For whatever reason, of just passions in music. And
well, you're making an interesting point because I think a lot of guys forget that they get to decide as well. It's about them too.
But most of the strategies I've heard was swipe right to everything and filter them out later, and that's just a bad idea.
Well, it doesn't say a lot about your self-respect. It says that you're willing to take anything that comes your way, and sure, okay, fine, you like me, then I must like you too, and I'll figure out how to make it happen.
Well, for the guys, it's just easy. We'll swipe right to everything, and then we'll see who connects, and then I'll make a decision if I'm going to talk to that person. But
it's like, how's it hanging on Tinder? Oh, a little to the left, a little...
a lot to the left.
It's a mess, and I definitely think that, their investment needs to happen from somebody now, and if you want to have that investment come back, you're going to be looked to lead, and you need to have what are you willing to invest up front with the people that you're going to be communicating with and hanging out with. If they're going to want to see something, if you're the man of the situation, they're looking for you to lead this, and if the girl is like, oh, I really like this guy, let's make something happen. The other side of that is I see a lot of the guys will just chat and banter, and the girl's like, okay, well, let's
meet. Exactly. No more pen pals.
Yeah, you know what? I have to say, one thing that I find in men, and I wish a guy would just really like me and own that. You know what I mean? Like, if I find so many men, I think so many people have told them back from, swingers days and even back before then that you're supposed to pretend like you don't like the girl, or that you're supposed to ignore them, or whatever, or at least just not really put yourself out there. And while, nobody, men or women, don't like needy people. They don't want someone hanging on your, leg like that or anything. But if you like someone, let them know. Tell them.
So what does that mean?
Them.
What does that look like?
Hell if I know. It doesn't really happen that often.
You're like, I don't see it ever.
To be honest, it did happen once. A few years ago, there was a guy, and we dated, and early on, he was just very authentic, and he really was very confident as well. He was not arrogant. He was confident. I remember him calling me up and just being like, I just called to tell you that I'm crazy about you.
Oh,
and I was
awesome.
like, oh, That is so refreshing.
And then you never called him back again.
No, we had a full. He dumped me. I mean, actually, months later, but I fell in love with him because he was so authentic. It was amazing. Yeah.
A lot of people look at this as a win and lose situation, and if they let the other person know that they like them, they're
losing.
They're being vulnerable, and people don't want to be vulnerable.
Well, there's a difference between stating your emotions and being emotional. Like exactly what you were just saying before about being needy and hanging onto somebody's leg. That's like one extreme. But there's something to a man who's super confident saying like, you're amazing. I like you.
If you have the confidence to just be able to own that and be like, yeah, I like you. I like you, and I'm willing to admit that, and I'm willing to show you that.
There's nothing more powerful than that.
And I think saying that in person is really important because I think some guys can hide behind a text message or email and it doesn't have the same effect.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think a lot of people using text and email and whatnot they don't have the confidence to do it in person because it's scary to be shut down and face to face, right? So it's easier if you're hiding behind a.
So your blog is all about dating in Los Angeles. So I would love to hear about a recent date of yours, maybe even a successful date, because I would love to hear what a successful date looks like.
Oh, gosh. I haven't had... Actually, I did have a successful date last year, kind of toward the... I know,
back in 94.
Back then in 2013. No, I did have a successful date, and he was great. We just had the same sense of humor. He was a comedy writer.
And you met online?
We met online.
Okay.
Yeah, and we just went to a bar and had a drink, and we just... got along. That's just all I can say. There was no line. There was no formula. It was just...
It's just simply having a good time.
We just clicked.
You clicked. So can you explain to me what that means when you click and there's chemistry? Because a lot of guys go on first dates and they're like, oh, we clicked. We had a good time with each other. She laughed at my jokes. But now she doesn't want to go on a second date.
Yeah,
so
they
what's
can't
the
really
difference?
read it.
Yeah, what's the difference between you have a good time and we had chemistry and I want to continue seeing him for sexual purposes or for dating purposes or relationship purposes?
Gosh, it's so hard to define, isn't it? Chemistry.
It is.
It's really hard to define. I don't know that I really can put it into words. I mean, I know what I feel. I'm not really conscious of what I'm putting out there, but, there's people talk about, body language. And so, like, if I touch you, I'm probably not going to touch you if I don't like you, unless you're falling down and I'm trying to, help you pick you up. Right?
No, let him fall.
Exactly. I was like, see ya. No, but, little things like that, eye contact. I've been told before, I remember on a date once, a guy said he couldn't tell if I liked him or not. And to be honest, I wasn't sure if I liked him or not. And so, he read that and he said, you're being polite. And I was being polite, but I wasn't really super into him. And didn't mean I wasn't going to give him another chance. I would have gone out on another date with him, but,
But he seemed to call you on it.
Yeah, he did.
Which is kind of cool.
He did, but it was true. I wasn't really feeling it that much, but it was a first date.
Yeah, I think you can go with your gut on that, and I think there's some women. I know for me, my boyfriend said when he first met me, and he still says that he can't read me. He can't really read what's going on, and I think a lot of people might have a guard up, and so I think guys can really just go with their gut because I think he just knew I liked him, but he still couldn't read anything more than that.
Yeah, Johnny, what were you going to say?
Well, had he led the situation a little bit better, would it have swung you into liking him?
Well, that situation was actually different because I was willing to go out with him again, but and he texted a few times, but then we never wound up going out again. He didn't ask me out, so I don't know what happened on his end either. So I don't know.
Is there something he could have done on that date to get you more? Like, okay, so a lot of guys, when they go out on these dates, because you can go out with somebody and have fun, but not be attracted to them, right? You can have a good time.
Sure.
So what's the difference between somebody that you're sitting across the table from them and you're like, okay, this is going to be my friend, and we're having a really good time, great conversation, versus somebody that you look at in that other way where there's potential to continue dating?
I think everyone really wants to hear that one, magic bullet. Everyone wants to know, what can I do? What's the line? What's the move? What can I do to get this girl? But it just, it doesn't really exist. That magic bullet doesn't exist because everybody is different. Every woman has a different
magic bullet
preference.
is just killing everyone at the same time.
Well, I know for me, like I'm married, yes, but I can still flirt with people. And I know that when I sit across the table from somebody where I feel attraction versus friendship, the difference for me is, the friendship is we're connecting and we're having conversations about things that we like, but there's no teasing. There's no slower modes where there's silences and like making longer eye contact, where I have to think to myself, does he like me? Do I like him? There aren't, those moments aren't present. It's just us having like great conversation and laughing, but I wouldn't see him as a sexual option because there was no sexuality present on the date.
Yeah.
For me, of the hangout that we were having.
And I don't know if this is something that you do, but I think women, when they are feeling that way, tend to act a little more shy. They're a little more self-conscious because they care what you think, because they like you. So if maybe there's like looking away or a little self-doubt in a little sense, I think that's a really good indicator that she likes you. I know for me, if I like a guy, I'm looking down. I'm really uncomfortable.
Oh, me too.
I'm terrible.
My heart's beating fast like crazy.
I freak out. I mean, I'm the worst flirt. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm terrible. Like if not necessarily on a date, but like say I'm out somewhere and I see a cute guy, I will like not look at him. Yeah. I will. It's horrible.
I immediately like just look to the floor.
Right. Oh yeah. It's like if he looks at me, I'm like, I look away right away.
So guys should read that as well. And I know that's really hard for men because then they just think, well, this girl doesn't, she's not into me. She's going to look the other way and keep going. But I think if you can look at it in the right way, you'll see that she's actually into you. Women get nervous too. Right.
Women, are just, I think, some men, not all men obviously, but some men give women too much power. It's like we're just human beings. We're just people, and we want to I would love to just fall in love with the next guy I go out with. The next date I have.
Beware any man that goes out with Single Girlie next time.
Exactly.
Okay, that doesn't usually happen, sadly, but I really want it to happen. I go in there hoping.
That's why you're dating.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I want to get to. We have analyzed this. It's this portion of our show where people writing questions, we answer their questions, and we are backlogged on tons of questions. So people probably hate us. So I have some questions now. But if anybody wants to write into ask@askwomenpodcast.com, and we will hopefully answer your questions by 2016. Okay, so here is the first question. Hello, ladies and guests. When is the right time to start bringing sex into the conversation? First date? Second date? That's the whole question.
That's the whole question.
When is the right time to start bringing sex into the conversation?
Okay, are we assuming that this person wants more than a booty call? Or more than...
He's asking, first date, second date.
Okay. I mean, obviously, if you're in it for a booty call, then you bring it up right away, because you need to get that out of the way, because you need to let the woman know that that's what you want.
Right,
okay?
And then she can take it or leave it.
Exactly. And she can say, yes, I'm into that, or no, and you've done your job. If you want more of a relationship thing, you actually want to go out with this person a few times, and I would not bring it up on the first date. Second date... It really kind of depends on how the relationship has sort of progressed, I guess.
Well, where the conversation is. If she starts saying, like, I cannot wait to get you home later, then you can bring it up.
Obviously, yeah.
But if you're talking about, like, spaghetti and meatballs, I wouldn't say, like, oh, balls, you want to start... Like,
balls, nice.
Yeah, you don't go in that direction. That's my advice. What is your advice, Johnny?
I mean, why are we talking about it?
What do you mean? Why are you talking about sex? Exactly. I said, because actually I wrote back to this person this morning and just said, you know what, I would say if you want, if anything, let her talk about it. I would never bring it up, but you can insinuate a lot of things with sexuality.
If you're enjoying the company, you're having a great time, then obviously both of you, if you're into each other, should be touching and laughing and carrying on. And there should be chemistry going on. And perhaps it will go on that evening, or perhaps it's, hey, let's slow down. I'm not a first date kind of girl or first date kind of guy, or I really like you, let's take it slower. But that's when you should be talking about it.
Right, exactly.
Why are we talking about this beforehand?
See, I agree with you.
Like,
I said never bring it up.
No.
Don't ever bring it up.
No.
Right.
In 20 years, don't bring it up.
Right, it's just it happens.
Because I find it creepy if guys go to that sexual place. Like, even if I am attracted to them and I am into sex, like, if they start going down that sexual path, it's a turn-off.
Well, the only time I would say that you should be talking about it, there's always the dates, and I love these, are my favorite, where it's like, we're not going to have sex tonight. And my answer is, so we're talking about it.
I like that.
So,
I have done that. Yeah. But it was because there was an assumption.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the time to talk about it. She's brought it up.
Right. So exactly. So I said, let her bring it up first in some way. If sex is going to be brought up,
why are we talking about it and ironing out contracts and making sure that everyone...
Exactly. Yeah. I agree. So on to the next question.
Bring up sex.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Next question. Hey there. First, let me say I added this one in because there's lots of compliments.
Oh, good. I want
to go slow with it. First, let me say that I adore all of you, although I wish Kristen would give herself more credit now and then. So sweet. I was raised as a conservative Christian and have worked hard to rid myself of the implications of my upbringing. Interesting. Similar background to you.
We relate.
I've been largely successful in this, except for when it comes
you don't relate
to
anymore.
porn.
Oh, wait, what?
Wait,
Yes.
did you say that? Wait, get back up. Yeah, I missed some of
Are you
that.
back on board with him now? I rationally understand that my fiance and most people enjoy porn. However, emotionally, I always feel hurt and betrayed, akin to the level I would feel if he cheated. Oh, this is from a girl. If he cheated. When I think about it, what do you ladies think about this? Thank you. Anonymous.
Okay,
so
she
what
is
do you-
not
Sorry.
loving that her boyfriend likes porn?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know how old she is, but I remember when I was younger, I didn't get that. I didn't get the porn thing with guys. And, it was like, why? It did kind of feel like he was cheating or something like that. I just didn't understand it. But now I can't say I understand it like that, but I get it and I accept it. And I just know that that's just men. Men just are into porn, and it has nothing to do with you. And my gay boyfriend says, it's just like a little vacation.
Right. It depends how much they are into porn. Because I have had one friend whose husband would watch porn every day, and she'd walk home or get home from work, and he'd be sitting on the
let
couch
her walk
masturbating.
home. He wouldn't pick her up.
Oh, that's disturbing.
Yeah, and that's when it's like one level too far, and that would ruin their sex
like
life.
8
And
levels too far.
And he would apply everything that he was learning in porn to their sex lives.
Oh,
and
no.
Yeah, so that's when it gets to be like maybe like 5 levels too far.
I think I relate to her with her upbringing and stuff like that. And I would say that the way I've kind of understood it is that I've realized that men, as compared to me anyway, and probably her, are much more sexual than I am or that women are, and that I can't shame them or be angry at them for that. And that's all porn is to them, is a way to have it's an outlet to get those feelings out. I don't have them.
Try getting
I don't
any
have
feelings
them.
out.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting something out.
Well,
That's
John,
what
I want to hear what you have to
That's
say.
what I thought.
Well, back to what Kristen was saying. Don't think of it as that you're less sexual. It's just you're going to be getting off in a different way.
Right. It's not your thing.
Yeah,
And I think men
crying
like
is
kind of
getting
need
off.
that visual stimulus to, when they masturbate, right? They masturbate and they look at, like, when I masturbate, I don't need to look at anything.
Of course.
But men,
You have an active imagination. Same with me.
I do. It's in my head.
Yeah, it's a totally different thing. Now, the idea of how compulsive it is and how is it like, as you were mentioning about your friend who was like walking in and he was
Married to the biggest
Exactly.
creep in the world.
That's a little bit
Yes.
comfortable. Like,
Yes. Yeah, but for you, because this is a woman, so let's hear the man's perspective. So for her, should she feel like she's being cheated on? Should she feel like she's not good in the bedroom? She's not satisfying him?
No, she's going to have to understand that that's just part of how men work.
And that's how
operate.
I've dealt with it.
Yeah,
I've just
absolutely.
realized, okay, dudes need to get off, and that's how they have to do it.
And she mentioned the conservative upbringing, and on top of that, Kristen pointed out that she's probably really young, and but I'm going to say both of those are going to. Those are things that you have to work through.
You learn.
Growing.
With
You basically
relationships,
what you
Yeah.
do is you accept the sad truth that this is what dudes do, because you eventually just get older and you're like, there's nothing I can do that change this. It's the way it is.
Right.
As long as I'm not walking in on my dad doing it or something, like, it's fine.
That's disturbing.
Yeah.
All right, dear Marni and Kristen and guests, as a young... look at all these women questions. Okay. As a young woman, I love how you both fearlessly voice your opinions on your podcast.
Oh, I'm scared every day,
brightens
girl.
up my
It's
morning
not fearless.
commute. It brightens up my morning commute. So I wanted to ask you both a question I've been struggling with for a while. Does number matter? Obviously, some men do care about the number of men a woman has had sex with, but do their opinions even matter? Should we even tell them our real numbers? Marcy.
I love this because I just watched a sketch done by these two comics. They're really funny, Nikki Glazer and forgot the other one's name. But they just did a sketch about if they were supposed to be a couple and they were going over each other's numbers, and she first says it's 15, and then later down the conversation she slips and says 16. She's clearly like trying to hide it, but she's trying to like get his out, and she's mad at him. Anyway, it was really cute and funny, and basically what it came down to is that we should just break up because they were so unhappy with each other's numbers.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
It's not a conversation that anybody should have. I mean, your past is your past, and it's no one's business.
I actually don't agree with it. Not that you should be having or you have to have, like I have to know my husband's number, but for me, it's a part of who you are. So I remember when I was first dating my husband. So this question is actually for men and for women. So is the number important, and should you be asking? I asked. Not because I was like, I really want to know the number so I can know how dirty you are. Like, I didn't have an ulterior motive.
How long were you married at this point?
No.
How long were you dating at this point?
We were probably dating in the first 5 months. I asked this question. First of all, I just wanted to know his background in some way. Not that I was trying to
it's like
get
knowing what you went to college for.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it is. It's a thing. Like, not that it was important to me. And honestly, if he had said his number was low, I would have maybe not believed him and questioned it. I liked the number that he gave out. It was like a good middle range number. And I've been with other guys, like boyfriends.
It's like enough to know he's attractive enough to have sex, but not enough to know that he's a dick.
Right. Or that his dick is infested with millions of STDs. Right. So I've had boyfriends.
Like someone like Gene Simmons or someone that would scare me. Like, I don't know what he's got, because he's got to have something. I mean, with it
never put me off in the past. Like, I had one boyfriend who had slept with over 500 women, and it didn't upset me. I literally just wanted that information to know more about him.
I think most people are mature enough to see that conversation that way.
I don't want to know. I don't want people to ask me, and I don't want to know. I don't ask them. They don't ask me.
But what if you're really, really close with someone? Say you're going to get married. Do you want to know at that point? It's like you're not really.
No,
yes, it is your business.
It's not important.
It's your business.
Yes, it's not important to know. I mean, with my husband, I think he asked me, and I think I lied. To be quite honest,
I would have to up mine.
Where is he now?
Make it sound cool.
Now he's that's another story. But his was lower than mine. I was a little bit of a slut. But actually, I don't like that word. I think that women can be sexually active if they want to be, and that's all good. I don't think anybody needs to know about that. Sadly, there are people who still do judge it. So I wouldn't offer it up. I just don't think it matters.
What if you are dating somebody and they do say to you, what is your number?
None of your business.
I think honestly,
do you say it's none of your business?
I haven't been asked that in years.
What I say is, if you're dating someone, it is somewhat of their business, because it's a big part of you. It's like they're missing this whole slab of who you are. And for me, I think I'm not concerned about the number. I would just be more concerned if you were talking about the people personally. That would weird me out. That's something I don't want to know. I don't want to know what her boobs look like when, stuff like that. I don't want to know any details, because then that starts to, I think, emotionally hit women.
It would bother me more if they didn't say it and they were adamant about not sharing that information.
They're hiding something.
The other thing that I used to say, which no one ever asked anything after to say, let's just say you had asked me, so, what is your number? And I said, well, listen, I don't really want to discuss that, because I will let you know that during my 20s I was on the road the whole time. So I'm sure
you can assume what you want. But the thing is, when you do that, you make it sound even higher. So I would but I don't know, obviously, what your number is.
I know.
But I think if you avoid things, it's like when someone in Los Angeles says they won't tell you their age, it makes you older.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you're 45,
trying to hide.
25, but I know, you're hiding something.
Right.
I read this study that said that, men, just in, reports, men have a higher number than women do, but statistically that's impossible.
Yeah,
so men are having sex with women, and unless they're having sex with the same woman, which is very unlikely, right?
Yeah.
Then that's just not statistically possible. So
let's answer Marcy's question. So, because I think, Johnny, you would be the best person to answer this. Does the number matter? If for some reason it were to slip out and she was like, I've been with 25 guys, and she was 32 years old, would that matter?
No.
Why? No. Why?
Well, I like to think the best of people. So, past is the past. They have to live. They're doing their thing. Everyone's looking for self-discovery and all these different things. I have to take it as, they're an adult, and it's their prerogative. I can't get wrapped up in that. If I'm going to be comfortable with anything on my end, it's a two-way street.
Right, but that's a mature answer as well. Would it be better if she said her number was 5? Would you be hoping for that?
No.
5, really?
I don't know. What?
Listen, the other side of that is so now I'm with a woman who's inexperienced. How long before she starts to wonder if there's anything else out there that she's been missing?
Okay. That's interesting. So what would be like the hopes, the fingers crossing number?
I don't think
it's irrelevant for me. It's, I don't want to know, and I don't want to disclose mine either.
Okay, I like Johnny.
We're together now.
I think we're the sluts here, so we don't want to tell our numbers.
Yeah, this is basically
that's why we don't want people to ask us.
I'm the crew when we're like, I want to know your number, and I'm going to tell you mine.
No, but I mean, we are afraid that people are going to judge us, and so maybe they won't. But then, in saying that, there's a bit of a vulnerability there, and it's like, now is he going to like me? Does he think I'm a slut? Does he what?
Yeah, well, that's obviously what Marcy's concern is.
Exactly.
It's should she have shame in her number?
I wouldn't.
Everyone should have always a wee bit of shame just to keep the world healthy.
Marty, no, you should not have any shame. I will tell you that.
No shame. Shame keeps you from expressing yourself and being creative.
That's my motto.
Exactly. You have to own whoever you are.
Shame keeps people on the beach in beach wraps, okay?
Hey, girls and guests. Been listening since episode 1, and you guys have taught me so much in these past few months than ever in my 23 years on this planet. I've been completely honest and open with every girl I've started dating this year. I wouldn't change it for the world. In addition, I'm currently in a friends with benefits situation that's been going on for 2 months now. I understand these relationships have an expiration date, but my main question being, how do I make one last longer than 3 months? We both talk about what we expect, but now she wants to go on more dates and hangouts. Also, I'm a semi-pro Latin dancer, and it's hard to commit any more time I'm already giving her. Thanks again, Gabriel.
Well, I think Gabriel's really young, 23, so he's obviously dating women who are either his age or younger, and I think at that age, they're not ready to commit to a long-term thing for the most part.
Right, but what he's saying is he's in a friends with benefits situation, and now this girl wants more. But the funny thing is, because he said, my main question being, how do I make one last longer than 3 months? But then when she's talking about wanting more dates and more hangouts, he's saying he doesn't have time. So is that confusing to you as well?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think what he's saying is he doesn't want it to be beyond friends with benefits.
Yeah, he wants to stretch out the friends with benefits without getting into a relationship.
Right. He likes having sex with her, but he doesn't want to commit to her.
Right. The bottom line is that if you get into a job, that job may start at a low level, but it's always going to keep advancing for the most part. So you can never really expect to stay sedentary in anything. Everything's always going to advance. And so,
that's true.
Yeah.
That is true. But there is a way to set boundaries and be very clear in your communication style in what actually is happening between the two of you. So if she's asking for more dates and more hangouts, then she's asking for another level of intimacy, which you don't want to give her. And so what we were saying before about how you're not responsible for somebody else's feelings, you also can't control if they're going to start liking you more, because you sound awesome, right? So obviously they're going to want more from you, because this seems to be a constant problem for you.
Just start dancing like a white man. You'll be like totally
turn her off the hook.
Yeah.
No, but that's the thing. So you have to understand that another person's emotions are involved in this situation. I would say if you want to keep it as friends with benefits, I would try to not be overly intimate and caring with these girls, and really just be, friends with benefits, but don't get too invested yourself, because you may be sending the wrong messages to these girls that are pushing them in that direction to want to hang out more.
And also state your intentions.
Absolutely. Okay. You have to be upfront with that. And if she wants more dates and more hangouts, don't go on those dates and hangouts. Just keep it to where you're comfortable with it.
But you can say that as well. You should be. You can say,
upfront.
"Listen, I really enjoy what's happening here, but if at any point you're not comfortable with it and you want something else, then we're not on the same page, and we're going to have to, figure something out."
And it's better to do that sooner than later, because the longer you put it off, the more hard it's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, that's all the time that we have for Analyze This. But if anybody has any questions out there, write into ask@askwomenpodcast.com, and we will answer them on air with our guests, with ourselves, and we'll try to give you the best answers possible. But thank you, Johnny, for being here from The Art of Charm, and you're going to come back for another episode, too.
Sure.
And we thank you, Single Girlie, and go to singlegirlblogging.com to find out more about her interesting dates. One of her newest blogs blog is about her and her new boy toy, which we didn't get to talk about, but you can read about it on her blog and download new episodes of the Ask Women podcast every week on Thursday.
Or subscribe.
So you don't have to. Exactly. So go to Podcast One, that's podcastone.com, or you can download off of iTunes. That's actually a better option. And also support us on Amazon by going to winggirlmethod.com/Amazon. Go buy a car there, buy a TV, buy really expensive shit so that we can still stay on the air. And we'll see you guys next week.